at the end of the year, I may be able to give you an accurate answer, but now I'm getting something out of thin air based on the best case scenario of spending, okay?
You also said this was a pilot program, which implies that there's some thinking about a bigger program. Is it a county-wide participatory budget process that's being piloted here in Bordeaux? Is one question. And then second is, the things that you've asked for are like, the cracks in the sidewalk and the things, tell us about the potholes that you want fixed or the trash can that you want. But isn't that what Hub Nashville exists to do? And secondarily, we have a councilman to whom we address these sorts of concerns to all the time. And so it seems a little odd to me that we're ignoring the channels that we already have. I love that we're having community participation on stuff like that, but in the scale of things, like giving the Bordeaux community $2 million to think about how they want to spend it, which is part of a much larger budget, doesn't seem like a whole lot. It seems almost kind of like a little bit of busy work for the community rather than actually helping.
Yeah, well, we didn't want it to create busy work for the community. I have been passionate about democratizing the way we spend the city money for many years, and I was happy that the mayor agreed to use this opportunity to start it here. And we and the mayor believe that you guys know the things that are falling through the cracks, so to speak. I mean, the councilman knows all these things, and he submits ideas regularly through not Hub Nashville, but through the budgeting process and so forth. I was serving with him in the council when he tried to pass legislation to fund a series of things in his community. This is different. This is about those small things that that you can finally actually fix directly without going through the bureaucracy. And this doesn't mean that other things are not going to be fixed. As a matter of fact, Public Works, I was having a meeting with them, and they said, what happens if we see an idea that somebody submitted and we want to fix it now? Do we have to wait? I said, no, if you can fix it now, fix it now. Use the other money, and then that will free money for other things that people propose. So this is the first cycle that we are doing on the participatory budgeting process. And the idea is to increase not only, I mean, my hope, not the idea, my idea, is to not only increase the budget for next year, but also expand the footprint. And ideally, if we are successful, at some point in the future, this could be something that the city uses regularly, like is done on thousands of cities all over the world as a way to address quality of life issues. Not the big picture thing, but the small quality of life things that drive you crazy. It's true that Hub Nashville is another way to do it, and they do it, but this is a more direct way to do it directly. You propose, you vote, it gets done. Did I answer your question? Sort of? Okay.
My question is pretty simple. The program sounds like it's a good starting point. What I'm trying to figure out, this program, this one, is it spread over 3 councilmatic districts? 5. Will the funds be, the $2 million be spread out equally among the 5? So that's like $400,000 each. Or if one area has something that goes over. I'm just trying to figure out how should people be thinking in terms of their area, this is the most we're going to get regardless.
So that's a really good question. And I don't tell the steering committee how to run the voting part. The steering committee is getting ready on the next 2 meetings they're having. They're going to be discussing the voting portion of the process. So on the voting portion, they may decide to create set-asides for each part of the area. But the thing is, like District 1, geographically, is the biggest chunk of this region. District 19 is a small little part. So I think it will be hard to come up with a number. But I won't tell the steering committee what to do because that will be counter to the whole idea of participatory budgeting, where the local residents decide what the rules are. So they already put together a set of guidelines. The next two meetings is to talk about voting. If you have a concern like that, I encourage you to email pb@nashville.gov, and I will share that with the steering committee for them to consider.
Do the citizens get any idea of what things cost? I mean, if each councilmanic district gets 400,000 and it's 100,000 to fill a pothole, like they might choose differently than, other things.
You guys are asking some really great questions. So part of the process of PB is that when the budget delegates start working on converting those ideas into ballot items, they're going to work with the metro departments. And the metro departments are going to put what is called a scope of work, a description of the project. And they're also going to put a budget together. Because we really need to make sure this thing gets built. Whatever, let's say you want to do, what would you like to see happen?
Crosswalks.
Okay, let's say she wants a crosswalk. So a crosswalk, people need to know how much this crosswalk will cost. And a crosswalk in a wide road will be more expensive than in a small neighborhood intersection. So they have different values. So we're going to ask NDOT, the National Department of Transportation, to put a price to this. And we want to make sure that the price will cover it. So we're going to ask them, just bump it up a little bit to cover for inflation. Because the whole idea is, after you guys vote in December, January 1st, we want to start working. And I would like for you guys to say, oh, wow, you did get it done. You didn't lie to me. We voted on this and you finished it. And I want to see as many of these items getting built before the next cycle is hopefully supposed to start in next July. So, yes, there will be a price, a budget, included on each ballot item. So you will look at the ballot, and it will give you a description, and it will have a budget to it. All right? And hopefully a little picture, too. Yes, sir.
I'm going to be kind of vague because I know we got a steering committee member present, and I don't want to blur the lines on the rules. But if there is a project proposed that will possibly require the department to incur a cost in order to actually give the budget delegate a true number, has that been taken into account by the mayor's office to give that additional support to that department beyond that $2 million budget?
Such a great question. Okay, so if the office need to hire an architect, for example, or an engineer, that is not included. So that will be something that will be have to be included on the idea. So if you propose an idea, the idea should be design and construction of whatever. But we already have a group of Metro employees waiting. Set aside, we created a committee to support the process, and they are ready to start working within their knowledge to work on this. But it doesn't include architectural engineer or professional services. It does not. Yeah, it does to some extent, but then what you do is you include it on the idea. You said the idea shall include the design for this item, and then your neighbors will decide if they want to vote for it or not. He just gave you a really good idea. You could do, the first cycle could be the architecture, engineering, design, and then on the next cycle you could propose that. Remember, people need to vote for it. Just because you include the idea doesn't mean that it gets done.
County Hoyle. voice gonna talk as loud as I can. Now, some of these things that we're asking for, we can do it on our own. So for each neighborhood, become an association. We got cameras in our neighborhood. The government didn't give us 1 penny. If you join together and get that, you can get it. Not only that, Vanderbilt just have a program where they'll come and put cameras on your house for free. They just want to see how you live. And that's for free. You don't have to put 1 penny with it. And so if you come together as neighborhoods and start your association, a lot of things you're asking for, you can do it on your own, and then you can still ask them for things.
Thank you. Does anybody need any of these brochures? I mean, I saw some people coming late. They are beautiful brochures, and so there you go. Oh, you have a question?
Thank you. My question is this. You had mentioned that there were other investments going on in Bordeaux. You had mentioned that there are other investments and things going on in Bordeaux. Is there a place or a portal where we can see everything happening in Bordeaux, and that could possibly inform us as far as what we propose? So is there a central location where we can find out all of the investments that are planned for Bordeaux and projects and dates and what have you?
You're not the first one that asked me that question. Who else needs one of these? Okay. Like I said before, it's hard to pin down everything that is being done because we budget for something, we put the money on this capital spending plan, and then the different departments start spending. So, but within the boundaries of the money we gave them. So I have a map that I have shared with the council member and with the steering committee that shows all the different dots where things have been proposed. There is also the actual capital spending plan that has general description of the levels of investment, but there isn't really a detail like how much money are we spending in the corner of your house, for example. But I can tell you that in general, based on the big ticket items, that's what when he asked me before, how did I thought that this was, that's what I came up with that number. I wish I could give you a number, but we cannot do it until the end of the year, at the closeout, when we know actually how much money had been spent. She has a follow-up?
I'm not necessarily asking as far as budgetary concerns. I'm asking what actual projects and investments are happening. That has to be located somewhere, and where do we get access to it?
Yeah, there is a list. And the list includes things like the highway cap that we are doing to heal the part of the city where the freeway cut the city in half. There is a new transit hub that is being done in Bordeaux. There is a series of investments we did on the schools because of COVID. We gave the schools $60 million to repair HVAC and make the school safer for the kids to go. We have done a series of investments on culverts, on sidewalks, on paving. As you can see, I mean, it's kind of a mess out there where there's always repairs on the streets. So that's in general, but what I can do, council member, is try to give you a better list, and we can take it from there.
Okay. Thank you, Councilman Hall. My question is just for curious minds, not just for people who just live in District 1, people who live in other districts who have a concern about District 1's, growth in a couple of years and months. So is there a protocol for public access, like the lady just said, about where, like when the steering committee meeting is for these next couple, 2 meetings that you spoke about? Where is the public access for that information according to Sunshine Law? And then also, how do you make sure that, again, whatever things get checked up for votes and a whole bunch of people, a majority has said that they like this, how does the community of District 1 and other people know, hey, okay, this is coming to us, all right, let's get ready and get on board?
I love it. Thank you. So transparency is a big deal with this process. So we just put a brand new website. And if you go to the website, at the bottom, there is a running calendar of all the events, even the ones that we are not required to advertise through public notice. We put them all there because we want you guys to be able to attend as many meetings and to keep an eye on things. And you can also see there the Zoom link to access the meeting as well. No, it's live. No, so we can ask Kia. Kia is the program facilitator. I can ask her to post the meetings. No, I love it. I mean, please. I mean, this is a participatory process, and your ideas are very welcome. So, thank you. Yes.
So, for the purpose of the budget delegates, will we have, once there's a list of all the projects that are proposed, is there not someone who can be assigned to, once they're chosen, to say, wait a minute, this is already in the budget? Because I don't think anybody's going to want something that's already in a budget. Because to be honest, we've been budgeted for sidewalks for over a decade. So is there not someone that all of that can go to and they can say, wait a minute, this is already in the budget, move on to the next one? Because otherwise, you're going to end up basically paying for your own projects when they've already been there. So that's what I said. There has to be some kind of way that once the budget delegates get it, that someone says, well, wait a minute, this is already in the budget.
Thank you for that question. So the first thing I wanted to say is that we are going to have also an interactive map on the website where you will be able to see each one of the projects that are being considered. So any of you that want to visit the website, in about a month, there will be a map, an interactive map added to the website where you can actually check all the projects that are being considered. As to the city creating a limitation on items because the city is already spending money on it in a different budget, that will be contrary to the ideas of participatory budgeting for us to make a decision of what you guys get to decide on spending or not. So it'll be up to the community to decide if they want to vote on that or not. We won't be telling the community vote on this or don't vote for that because that will be totally contrary to the process. That's it? I did so good? Come on, you guys, ask me more questions.
Actually, I have a two-part question. The first is the steering committee, you said it was 5 council districts. How many council districts?
There are 18 members on the steering committee, and we ask the local council members to make recommendations. And we also ask the director of neighborhoods and also our North Nashville person, Eric Brown, to make recommendations. So we try to have a diverse group of people to be that steering committee. Now, next year, we are going to open it up early on, just like we are doing now. Anybody here that wants to be a budget delegate, we are still taking names. So we want to make it where you guys nominate yourself, and then we'll give you an opportunity to be a leader in your community. With the steering committee, unfortunately, because of COVID, we have to run into it, and so we decided to take on, ask the council members to help us appoint those steering committee members. But for next year, it will be up to the community to submit names and to volunteer to do that role for the next cycle. If we do it, I hope we do it. It will be up to the community to do it.
Yeah, but my first question was, are there 5 council districts that's in this allocation? How many council districts are in this allocation for the $2 million?
To look at it in terms of council districts, like I said before, it's not helpful because council districts are getting ready to get redistricted, and some are bigger than others. But there are 5 council districts, district council members that we asked for help because they knew their own region. And we also asked 2 at-large council members, Sharon Hurt and Councilmember Suara, to recommend people as well. So we asked 7 council members to recommend people to be on the steering committee, not because it was their district, but because they knew the leaders. They knew the local people more than I did. And so we needed them to recommend people that they felt that will be interested and will be ready to do the work.
I hate to keep hogging the mic, but let me see if I got this correct. Forget about the appointment of the committees, okay? But the $2 million is designated for Bordeaux only. Is that correct? Bordeaux, North Nashville, but predominantly Bordeaux. Okay, thank you.
So there is $2 million being set for this pilot program, in addition to the other spending that the city allocated at the last capital spending plan. Yes.
So the $2 million, that's for how many districts? 5? Okay, so, and we talked about the $2 million in previous meetings. Doesn't seem like a lot of money to be shared with other districts. So, is it going to be the reoccurring cost after you evaluate the first year of allocation of $2 million? Is it going to be the same amount allocated every year? Did y'all say, as a council, y'all will look at how this flows this first year, kind of like as a pilot, and then make appropriations based on how this went as a pilot year? That seems reasonable, 10 million.
And with your help, by making this pilot program successful, we can actually make the case to increase the funding for next year. So we rely on you all using this program and showing that the community really wants this as a way to support the expansion and the increase on the funding for next year for the future cycles. So you guys using the program shows that it's a good program, and then that will help support increasing the funding for following cycles.
My question is not to you, ex-councilman, but to current councilman. Of the mayor's proposed capital budget, what is the approximate total cost of that, and what is the approximate amount that will be spent in District 1? The first part is, given the mayor has, I'm assuming he's presented a proposed capital budget. What is approximately the total amount of that? And then what is the approximate amount that will be coming to District 1? no, let me just ask you, I think so. My question is, are we getting our fair share of the capital budget in District 1? And if we're not, I have concern to come out and say we're having a participatory budget when we are not even getting our fair share. And to me, that's kind of a BS PR program that the mayor and his administration is putting out there so he can come back and run on, he's making a political issue out of it to say we participated in the budgetary process. And my concern is, what can we do to get our fair share of capital budget being spent in District 1?
So, perfect transition. That's why this process is so important. And we want to participate because we want to get a list of items, things that we've been talking about, right? You can go by neighborhood and tell what people have been asking for, won't, don't want, for back 20 years. And it's been a consistent list of things. And that's part of the disconnect in the conversation. If you remember the remarks I made, they were almost identical to what you just said at the ribbon cutting for the El Piso project, because I was frustrated about $2 million being allocated because we had already been promised $2 million just in infrastructure improvements, right? And that's what led to, just last month, I passed a bill. It took some fighting, but it's about $75 million worth of upgrades just for infrastructure because we constantly have problems with flooding, right? And so the goal is to, as part of the 10-year master plan for stormwater, raise all the drains, ditches, culverts, things of that nature up to new construction standard. That's one of the items or things that will alleviate some of those things. We've had hundreds of items in the queue that just kept getting rolled over, things in the capital improvement budget that would be on the list but never actually get funded and get done. We've done a lot better the last few years. Even during COVID, you saw a lot of stuff constantly being done, right? To Ms. Donegan's comment earlier about sidewalks. You know, we've been waiting 3 years on 2 sidewalk projects, one West Hamilton, one on the other end just near Tucker Road in West Hamilton. Those are projects that have been issued, studied, engineered, and even gone to the bidding process, but just haven't been done. What we do is, with this participatory budgeting, highlight the things that we can fix right now, look at what else comes to the light that we want done, try to get those in the capital improvement budget, but you have got to bombard the council and the administration with those items that you're talking about specifically, because what happens is when that budget is being done, we're going to look at what needs to be done overall. And the phrase that I used, or the example I gave, and Fabian and Trustee Gilmore, I saw her come in a little while ago, they kept hearing this in council, right? District 1's 3 to 8 times bigger than every other council district. And I would use the analogy of me starting over. I got a 26-year-old and I got a 3-year-old. Me trying to feed the 26-year-old and the 3-year-old the same amount of food, somebody's going to starve. That's what's happened to District 1. We have to do a better job of articulating those things that have not been done over and over and over again, specifically so that the administration does it. And directly to the last mayoral race, there was a brochure that was put out. Says we're going to invest in neighborhoods as opposed to just focusing on downtown all the time. That's still not happened. We need to remind people of that.
Thank you. It's Erica Gilmore, Trustee Gilmore, but I'm here as a resident because I live in District 1. I want us to get a list, though, because you do have access to the list. I do think that would be helpful. You do have an access to the list of things that are, the projects that are being done, the projects that are on the list that you reference, which is our wish list for the council. So I think that that would be helpful. And also, if we could have probably the civic design to get involved, I think it would be a fruitful meeting. So I think if you gave us that would be helpful, because you do have a list of those projects, which ones have been done, which ones are on hold, how much we've spent. And I just think that would be great if you could give us that.
And that's what her question was too about. So we'll get that monthly list because we get weekly and monthly updates, from each department.
I know.
So we're in the process now of, because I had legislation specifically to do it. So what the mayor's office decided to do was work with IT. They're creating one singular portal for the first time. You know how we get those reports every week or every month. What they're going to do is create a public portal with exactly what you're talking about there. That's accessible from Nashville.gov for everybody to see. They click on their council district, and they'll be able to go under each heading, stormwater, public works, well now NDOT, and see what
Right.
projects are in the queue, how much they cost, where they are in terms of progress.
But see, we don't need it for the district. We just need it for our area. So I think it would be good, it would be helpful if we just had it for, if it's the border or whatever the boundaries are, we could have it for that area. And if we could have civic design to come out and help us as well, and someone from planning, I think it would be a fruitful and give us the ideas that we need. But we do have access, and I don't know that going to a portal, some people have access to the technology, some don't. We could blow it up real big and walk around like we've done in the past and have different charrettes, and we vote on different ideas. Like I think y'all started off with that at the beginning. Wasn't that, what did y'all do at St. Luke, Fabian, when you put up different ideas and the people could vote on how it looked? You know, what? Yes, like for transit. I think that would be a more fruitful type of thing, like we did for transit. Yep. So I don't know. I didn't get clarity though. Are you going to give us the list, or do we need to go on the portal? Which one?
We'll go ahead and get the list out to everybody,
Okay.
and we'll actually have them incorporate that list into the map that he's talking about, this interactive.
Sorry, council member, can you share the email you get every Friday from INDOT with your district? There is an extensive list of all the work that is being done by the Nashville Department of Transportation when it comes to sidewalks and pavement and culverts and all that. So the INDOT has this email. You guys, any of you can sign for that email and get updates on that. He was first?
So to your point about the steering committee meetings, about the sunshine law and everything, yeah, public access, all of those meetings are recorded and then posted, because they're recorded by Metro Nashville Network, and then they're posted on the Metro Nashville YouTube channel. So you can see all of the committee meetings from every department, every planning commission, council meetings, everything. So that's the best way to stay on top of that. And then for everybody who has a complaint about something the mayor's not doing, put it in an email. Phone calls really don't move the needle. Put it in an email, because when you email the entire council, Metro Council at Nashville.gov, when you hit them with everything, then it makes noise. So when they have to sit down and look at that capital spending plan or the capital improvement budget, they have to move the needle. And then the last thing I'm gonna say is, if you want to hold the mayor accountable to your agenda, use your vote. Make your demand and then use your vote.
A reminder that there are $2 million that are going to be spent on this region. If you don't submit an idea, somebody else's idea will be billed with that money. So please help me today completing that form if you have any ideas, because we want to make sure your ideas are also being considered for people to vote on. $2 million.
Can you please explain to people the timeline for this? Because I don't think people understand that there is a timeline, that all of this has to be done. Because it sounds like something that actually needs a lot more time to do, but could you explain that, the timeline?
Yeah, usually in other cities, this takes longer. But because of COVID, we were unable to do it with the flexibility we wanted. We wanted to keep people safe. So we already finished the guidelines that I was talking about before, this book. They're going to be adopted this coming week. Now we are on the idea collection period, where you guys also submit ideas. And that's going to be ending on October 17. If you wait till October 18, your idea won't be considered. Starting October 18 to December 1st, the budget delegates are going to work on those ideas and come up with 25 items to put on the ballot. Other cities have smaller ballots, like with 10 items or 15 items. We decided that we could do 25, and so that's why we set up a higher number. I mean, the steering committee made that decision. So you guys have till October 17 to share your ideas, and I'm happy to take your ideas today and put them on the system. But please don't wait, because if you wait till after October 17, it will have to be next year before they get considered for the next cycle.
So are y'all doing any kind of mail piece? I know you have your brochure here. And you said October 17th is the deadline to get your idea in. Is this being announced on the news, or has this, I mean, just going door to door as a neighborhood leader, and we go door to door as our neighborhood associations, we go door to door. We talk to our neighbors that are willing to talk to us. And that in itself is, in a 240 to 50 house subdivision, is a lot. And we have different block captains assigned to their different blocks. That's their assignment. They get the information. That's our delivery system of getting information to our neighbors. So this is such a large, encompassing kind of thing, then people are definitely going to say, I never heard about it. I never got the information. So how do you do it for neighborhoods that are not organized? How are you going to, do y'all have a little postcard where you're going to drop it in the mail, or how do y'all have that budgeted in your marketing piece, the steering committee looking at how can we get this information out to people in 2 weeks, 3 weeks to get their idea? And I know we're doing everything virtually, and
because of COVID, we are limited on what we can do, and because we are relying on word of mouth and on people telling the neighbors and posting on social media. We are doing a lot on social media, on Facebook, on Twitter. We are sending a newsletter to people that signed up. You guys can go to the participatory budgeting website in Nashville.gov and sign up to be getting the emails from the program. But if you tell me, come talk to my neighbors, I'll be right there. So you just give me a call, send me an email to pv@nashville.gov, and I'll come and work with you. I want people to know, because the more ideas we get, the richer this program will be. I just don't want my ideas there. I want your ideas, your neighbors' ideas. I want those $2 million to be spent wisely, and to do that, we need you all to make those decisions.
And thank you for emphasizing that. I am Sharika Roby Grant, and I'm a member of the steering committee. And so members have tried to push it out through their own individual social media, through networks that they're involved in. We do have a lead facilitator. Her name is Kia Jarman, and she's more than willing to come to any of your focus groups and speak about the process and take in ideas. We've tried to share that out on our social medias. She's hosted a couple of live Zooms to kind of give information as well. So I do want to make sure if you don't have the QR code, that you're writing your ideas down, because we do want to take them back and make sure that they're shared with our steering committee. So I think it'll be beneficial to share Kia's information because she will come out and talk to your individual focus groups and provide additional information. Okay.
You're going to get an email here in a few days. It's about a robocall number. So there's a new 800 number for the district that'll be a robocall where you can go call in, leave information so that you can get updates on things, but also just whenever there's a meeting or anything else happening, it'll come via that. Secondly, there's a new community calendar that'll also go up, automated. Everything that happens will be inputted into the calendar, so you'll start to get multiple things through there. The same way with Nashville.gov, when you sign up with any department, and you get weekly emails about everything that's going on with that department, we're structuring it the same way. Randy Crawley, throw your hand up, Randy. Randy is going to be the administrator on that page and on the Council One page. So if you've got something that you need on the calendar, you got something you want on the agenda, email me or email Randy. We'll make sure it gets up. And last, guys, you've heard it several times tonight, redistricting is happening. Please go on redistricting.nashville or at nashville.gov and participate in that conversation. You need to participate and give your input so you can see how these lines are proposed to be redrawn. It has a massive impact on everything from budgeting to schools to elections. Everything down the line is affected by redistricting. Fabian, appreciate you coming out tonight. Thank you, sir. We'll get you back on before it's time to vote, and then hopefully we can have Kia come with us at that same time as well. Mr. Taylor? We're done, right? Yes.
Thank you, everyone, for coming out this evening. We have our youth choir rehearsal coming up. And so you're welcome to hang out in the lobby, but they're going to be in here in the sanctuary. And hopefully you'll hear some good singing going on while you're here. But we thank you all for coming out this evening, and we'll see you at the next meeting. Thank you.
Don't hit it. Check 1, 2.
Track 1, 2.
Check.
Bam. Does this one work?
Test.
Testing 1, 2.
Stop turning off and on because I don't want this broken, okay? Check. Don't hit the mic. Check.
Hey.
1, 2.
Hey.
Check.
Hey.
I just said not to. Do you want to have a mic? Don't hit the talk into mic.
Okay. Hey. Okay. I was in a play in kindergarten.
Yeah,
Yes.
man.
Yeah, I went to
It's
the play,
off. It's
and
off.
the play
It's
was in
off.
the cafeteria.
Was it dog water?
No.
It's off. It's
I mean,
off. It's off. It's off.
said they actually. I could be
Die
on a
before.
talk show. Okay, now. Like,
Yeah,
wait,
like-
does this work? Like, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Test, test. One,
Hey.
1, 2. One, 1, 2. Whoa, one. No. So I was in a.
It is on. You
I'll-
have to talk 2 fingers apart. I was in a play set.
I was in a play.
You can hear my breath.
You gotta put it 2 feet apart. Hey.
Oh, everybody
Two
just
fingers.
sit down.
Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 is one.
Oh, everybody just sit down. Right
Testing,
now.
testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing. Guys on me.
I cut it on already. Stop messing with me.
Hey.
Test.
Hey.
All right, yeah.
Hey.
Test.
Hey.
Okay.
Hey.
So, Niall, check
I could
1,
be
2.
on a talk show.
I had a play.
Check 1, 2. Hey. I have all A's on my progress.
Hey,
report.
hey,
Hey.
So guys, I had a play where I said Enoch didn't die before he had eternal life. Hebrews 11. Nope. I said Enoch didn't die before he had eternal life. Hebrews 11. No faith, no faith. It's just
Jumbo Rock. The only thing that I did, I was like Jumbo.
Today.
It was in kindergarten at Ho Jackson. And then I had a play last year. in second grade. And then, no, yeah. And then we didn't get to do it because of Corona. Did you know the Bible predicted Corona?
It did.
Yes.
The Bible also
A
predicted
beatbox.
global warming. Yeah. The Bible said that the world is going to catch on fire.
Hey, what's up?
Check 1, 2.
Solomon.
Solomon, you're talking in the mic.
Okay, guys.
Yes.
Today, my day was good.
Now, E2 and Solomon, if you don't know how to follow directions, I'm not going to let you sing with us. E2 and Solomon. I'm sorry, Ezekiel and Zeke and Solomon. I'm not going to let you sing if you're not going to follow directions. Is this clear? Okay, you need to follow directions. Somebody pray. We're going to start off with prayer. Who would like to pray?
Me.
Okay.
Praise Zeke.
The Lord is the God. We will be good. We will be good children, and amen.
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 Gonna do a fantastic job.
Do you like that?